Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is July 16th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland has ordered the United States Department of Justice to issue a multi-count indictment of U.S. President Donald J. Trump as pretext for a Federal Bureau of Investigation arrest raid targeting Donald J. Trump on the date of July 17th of 2026, under the guise of high crimes and misdemeanors related to Jeffrey Epstein, the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking ring, and or the ongoing cover-up of said sex trafficking ring and the inherent sex crimes that were committed by persons within the Trump administration or persons known to Donald J. Trump or persons in Washington, D.C. that are somehow affiliated with the current president. So I'm really quick going to highlight the numerology, which is blinking red. So the date of the 17th, the number 17 equates to the letter Q in the English alphabet, which is an acronym for coup d'etat. It stands for the overthrow of an entity. In this particular case, it is the Trump administration. Coincidentally, this notion is reflected in the numerology of the date of July 17th, marks exactly 157 days since current U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Howard Lutnick testified in a closed-door session with the commission in Congress that is investigating the Epstein files back on February 10th of 2026. So the date of July 17th marks exactly 157 days. This also features the number 17. Because this is an overthrow of the Trump administration, and Howard Lutnick, his testimony will likely be cited in the impending indictment as a first-hand witness. He was, if you recall, was a former neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein, and he attended multiple parties with both Trump and Epstein. It also marks 4,192 days since Gawker magazine came out with a report entitled "Here is Billionaire Pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book," back on January 24th of 2015. Of course, number 4192. This has the number S, which is the 19th letter, and of course the number 42 or 24, and this is 6. This spells the number 6. This is reflected of the 6-pointed Star of David that is found on the flag of Israel, because this is a Mossad sex trafficking ring. And as I've stated in numerous videos for months on end, this Epstein scandal is not going to go away until it delivers on its promise or its original intention to remove Donald J. Trump from power. So let's just play this out. So let's say FBI officials raid the White House on the morning of July 17th to arrest Trump for crimes related to Jeffrey Epstein. We know that Donald J. Trump will never see the inside of a courtroom because the charges against him are fraudulent. We can deduce this in a de facto manner by recognizing that the Biden administration had 4 years to indict Trump on Epstein-related charges, and they did nothing. But now, what their entire plan surrounds this. This basically, they're going to throw every single thing at the wall. So basically, what's going to happen is you're going to have a multi-count indictment by the Department of Justice. You're going to have a subsequent FBI raid. They're going to take Donald J. Trump into custody. He's going to be taken to a black site in Washington, D.C. or elsewhere around the world, where he's going to be tortured, likely kept alive for weeks, months, or years on end, and tortured for his crime of going against the CIA in Switzerland. Obviously, Trump doesn't know that the CIA is in Switzerland, but that's who's ultimately going to be responsible. But they're going to kill him off, most likely within 5 to 10 days. They're going to claim that Trump in custody suffered a medical-related event, died of an undiagnosed condition, died of old age, died of some sort of altercation with a cellmate, security guard, or police, or most likely that he took his own life. That is why Donald J. Trump, former business associate Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly committed suicide, and two other persons, Virginia Giuffre and Jean-Luc Brunel, both intimately associated with the Epstein case, have both committed suicide, two of which, Epstein and Brunel, were suicided in their respective jail cells. So this is designed to foreshadow and set the precedent for Trump allegedly committing suicide in his jail cell. So what they're going to do is they're going to off Trump prior to trial. It's 100% certain Trump will never ever see the inside of a courtroom to face these charges because they are fraudulent in nature. This is a foreign country, a foreign entity called the CIA in Switzerland that is basically overthrowing the U.S. government and removing its head of state under false pretenses, basically framing him and then murdering him for crimes he did not commit. That being said, the indictment will likely feature multiple charges: rape, sexual assault, possibly misprision of a felony, 18 U.S. Code 4, which is that Trump knew of sexual crimes being committed against minors and failed to inform the proper authorities, possibly conspiracy against rights, possibly sexual abuse of children, sex trafficking, fraud, coercion, forced labor, sexual abuse of a minor, aggravated sexual abuse, abusive sexual content, sex trafficking, coercement, enticement, buying and selling of children, exploitation of minors, etc., etc., etc. That being said, what the CIA is going to do, in my opinion, is that once they arrest him, then this massive propaganda engine that the likes of which we've likely never seen before in history is going to go into motion. What they're going to do is claim that they have some sort of evidence that directly links Trump. So there's no need to even have a trial, and the fact that he killed himself allegedly or died in custody is actually a good thing because he's guilty. So what they're going to do is they're going to produce they're likely going to release the unredacted version of the previously redacted Epstein files release, which is going to have Trump's face and Trump's email and Trump's likeness and on multiple documents, possibly thousands. Then what they're going to do is march out probably anywhere between 10 to 20 to 30 of women that allegedly were raped by Trump, and they're going to make the podcast circuit. They're going to make the morning television shows and the late night talk shows, and they're all going to sing the same tune that Donald J. Trump raped them when they were underage. These are going to be hot women. They're going to have tight bodies. They're going to be dressed to the T, and they're going to basically all sing the same song. Then what they're going to do is they're going to try to corroborate this entire operation by claiming that Donald J. Trump is linked to the disappearance of Epstein victim, quote-unquote, Michelle of Germany, that Donald J. Trump was implicated in evidence found on Epstein Island, that Donald J. Trump was likely the ringmaster of the sex trafficking ring that Jeffrey Epstein was heading for many years, that Trump engaged in a quid pro quo extortion racket designed to extract monies from persons named in the Epstein files in exchange for failure for the U.S. Department of Justice to prosecute them, sex crimes against underage Jane Does, as previously mentioned, possible links to the suicide assassination of Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre, the suicide assassination of sex trafficker Jean-Luc Brunel, the suicide assassination of Jeffrey Epstein, as part of this grand conspiracy by Trump and his team to cover it up. Other Epstein Jeffrey Epstein-related crimes. So of course he won the lottery twice. He was involved in all sorts of fraud, money laundering, embezzlement, etc. And then likely they're going to produce, likely from Zorro Ranch or from Epstein Island itself, they're going to produce DNA evidence. And this DNA evidence is going to be flanked by photos, videos, audio files of Donald J. Trump, likely the state-of-the-art AI from the CIA, which is probably light years ahead of the AI that we have now. And we have to admit the AI is pretty good. They can make videos of Trump that look pretty authentic. Obviously, under a microscope, it likely could be detected to be AI, but this is going to be state of the art from the CIA, and it's going to have Donald J. Trump engaging in sexual acts with minors. It's going to be horrendous. It's going to be grotesque, but they're going to produce it, and they're going to produce photos, videos, and audio files, and then they're likely going to produce phone calls by Donald J. Trump himself admitting to these sex crimes. They're going to produce text messages. They're going to produce emails. They're going to produce social media messages. And this is all designed to paint Trump as a pedophile. And then what they're going to do is, as soon as Trump is arrested, then the war drum is going to start beating. And then they're going to release the Israeli National Police, who have a partnership with the City of Chicago Police Department. That's who's the entity I believe is responsible for all the mass shootings in Chicago over the last post-Obama years. And then they're going to start staging terror attacks in the United States by so-called Trump loyalists. And they're going to use this Epstein scandal to not only remove Trump, but to spawn a second American Civil War. And that's how we know that this is a foreign a plot by a foreign nation named Switzerland, whose CIA has been outed by yours truly, and they're trying to basically to balkanize the United States in the aftermath of a civil war. So this is why they just added this in the HR 8800 NDAA of 2027, Section 219, which merges the Israeli military with the United States military, which is laughable because they speak Hebrew and we speak English. But the fact is that they're doing that because they're trying to create a civil war in the United States on which one side will be allegedly anti-Semitic. So the American first people will be anti-Semitic, and that's what they plan on doing in the aftermath of this arrest of Trump and subsequent his death in custody, likely under the guise of a suicide or some other reason. Like I said, he'll never stand trial for this particular crime or crimes, but this is going to be used as a wedge in the United States for the foreseeable future, because they're going to spawn a civil war, because the people are not going to, the majority of the people, just like with Charlie Kirk, that's why the Charlie Kirk assassination is so messy. They're doing it on purpose to show Israel's hand in the assassination, so that when Trump is assassinated in custody, people will obviously have questions about that. And so that is designed to basically to scapegoat Israel, when in fact it's Switzerland in Europe, in Central Europe, that is actually pulling the strings. So obviously, if Trump is arrested for any Epstein-related crimes on the date of Friday, July 17th of 2026, obviously know that it was planned and orchestrated by CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland. And if this in fact comes to fruition in reality, I would kindly ask you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets.